If you merge Bhagwan, Guruji, Maharaj, all of these ones with the Meera, with the Saint Teresa, with the devotional, the the beauty in that churning, the in that intermingling is astounding. It's so beyond, because all these things, if you've been on the spiritual quest, like we recognize that there is a chamber in our heart where God lives. His presence is shining for years in Satsang. We've called it the core of the center of our spirituality. Uh, Even Shankara called it the shining light, which is subtler than the tip of a hair. So there are different ways to approach the same thing. But truly, Maya's job is to get us to a denial of that supreme light, which is within ourselves. Then, really, the only job we have is to be with that light and allow that to shine deeper and deeper, bigger and bigger, and not really. And that sort of resolves everything, because if that light is being felt more and more palpably, then you're on a good path. And if the light is dimming, because sometimes I wake up in the morning and I just like feels like disconnection, so I have to rush back to his light, and that's why I say to everyone, when you wake up, you don't know what situation, what dreams, what realms you visited, what all has happened. So you don't know any of that. And then you wake up and just, because if you start your day in that disconnection, and I know many of my children, many of um, the brothers and sisters in this world also will lead their whole days in that zombie state. And I recognize that even one moment of that is unbearable, to be like that zombie who's disconnected from the light within. And the symptoms of this zombie state are just so. And the thing with Maya is that it perpetuates that zombie state. It's always saying, Acha, haan, see now like this, then see like that also, and see like this also. So it's like I've got the zombie, I don't want to leave it. It's just like, yeah, let's keep this one's whole life spent in that zombie-like dead state. And it really feels like that. Those, like if you get used to living in that life, if you find darkness in your heart, like a disconnection in your heart. I'm not even saying darkness like evil or something like that. I'm just saying not feeling connected to the spirit in your heart. Then that can feel very strong in a way. Like my job is also to convince you that that disconnection is all right, because you can make things work here. You can make things all right here in the outer plane. You can win over here with pleasure seeking and with good times. But nothing replaces that. And the thing with this is that it's infinitely deep. That's why I just keep feeling that I'm just scratching the surface of this. So, although at one level I can say that, of course, God lives in the chamber of my heart. I know this clearer than that we are sitting here in this park. I know that. And yet, can I really say that I've seen everything that He has to show me, that I'm truly living in the deepest love? No, because every time I dig, there is deeper. It goes deeper. The light gets brighter. And even in the most oppressive seeming outer situation, I'm finding that more and more that you can just live over there. You can just live in that His presence, because He. So satsang that as I'm sharing is for me as well as for all of you. But we just have to learn not to let go of this light in our heart, no matter what. And if you find that, see, in the world it is said that you must go to sleep smarter than you woke up. and that makes a good life. But I'm feeling to say now, I've never said this before, that the light must, when we go to sleep, must be stronger than when we woke up. Every day, he must deepen in his love, he must deepen in his light. And it's very literal. You see, although it's not a perceivable light, it's not a, like it's an intuitive light. You can sense the lightness of it, the, the brightness of it intuitively. And that intuition must tell you that it was a good day because his light deepened, his light was stronger. Because I keep telling some of you that every day the mind will give you something to get away from that light. It'll say this happened, but what about this? I have this one. I have that. You see, and then day goes, and the next day goes, and next day goes, and every day will go like that. And do I really know what will give me a home at his feet forever? And do I really know? I don't really know. So because I don't really know, my job is to remain in his light to the best of my ability. So I don't want to sound scary like some of these um, Christian sages, but they got a point in the sense that even if you say, okay, take out all the scary stuff, what do we actually know? We don't actually know. So if there's a chance that I can live forever at his feet, right? And I have to trust his justice and his mercy fully, that with 100% justice and 100% mercy, I don't know what what will be designated as my true home, or how many times this play of separation will happen. If I don't really know, then what is my job? My job is to say that okay, till from this moment on, I'm fully committed to loving him, to living in his life, and because that's all that I can do. What else can we do? Unlike him, for whom past, present, future is just Lego bricks. But for us in this play of life, it doesn't seem that way. Although my heart tells me in reality it is that way for that consciousness which is here. But that doesn't seem to be our day-to-day experience. So as long as in the human condition this arrow seems to go this way from birth to death, then I want to spend every moment deeply loving him and not getting distracted by the things of the world and the offerings it gives me every day. Because drama leads to more drama, and that drama leads to more drama. This whole thing is like so Shakespearean that you keep making drama and drama and drama. So, and the mind loves that because it always has something to pick on. Oh, today this happened to me. Today this happened to me. Today this happened to me. And me remains in the center of the narrative, and God's light is forgotten. That's why I feel that the words that came from my heart here, that bless my heart with the light of spirit, that is like oxygen. No? It's like oxygen for this life, because without that light of spirit, what are we, like what do we know and what are we even doing? Without the light of spirit, it is impossible to recognize the absolute nature of yourself, because that is the Sadguru presence which provides the light to see the unperceivable. But you sense the connection and the deepening and the disconnection with the light, and that gives you such a strong compass even as to how to be in the world, and that then becomes a source of kindness, compassion, true way to live. It comes from there because you sense that your heart loves it. You sense your heart loves it when you're being loving and kind and beautiful in that way. And something else loves it when you're being like, you're having fun at somebody's expense or something like that. Then something loves that also. But that, if you just stay with your heart and you notice that, you see the disconnection. Like sometimes they'll say something like meant as a joke, but it'll hurt someone. And maybe it's happened with all of you, maybe except some of you, but I haven't really, I don't recall those moments, but it's happened so many times, and something in my heart tells me that hurt that one. I feel so, and hopefully I say it outside also that I'm so sorry that I didn't mean to hurt you at all. It was just meant to be a silly, stupid joke. And, yeah, you feel that contraction, and that heart is a great compass to guide us to say, are we being true to our heart? Because without that, I'm lost. Like, I don't have bearings. Without the heart guiding me, it is impossible to deal in this game without the heart. So, the blessing of to be blessed with the light of spirit in our hearts, such a gift. Because I remember a time that before that auto rickshaw, I was living completely lost. Before this light of being showed up here, in the eyes of the world, I was a good person, a good guy, whatever. Without this compass, we are lost. So, so I feel deeply for ones like for those so many years, I didn't know about its existence. I didn't know about its literal truth. So whenever I would read about Atma or something, yeah, it's like what leaves you when you die, and what enters when you're in the womb. Some idea like that. But then when later I saw that is more the life energy and prana actually. So then what is this Atma? So you still try to capture it emotionally somewhere, but till you meet it, you're lost. So my whole endeavor in this life in a way is to make sure that none of my children leave without meeting this Atma within. But once you meet it, then your responsibility is greater. Because before that, you have the excuse that you're lost because you don't know this light. The light of spirit is alien, it just sounds conceptual and it's just a nice thing. But once you meet it, then your job is to love it, to live in it, to deepen in it. It's such a beautiful, that's why I'm so in love with this book, The Interior Castle, because I never heard it in this way. Never heard it in this way, and I'm telling you that everything she's saying is true. Everything she's saying is true. Because she's the way, as you go along in the book, you'll notice that the way she's able to tell you that whether you're hallucinating or whether you're having a true vision. You see, the way these things she's defined and they're so ring so true in my heart. And it's very inspiring because you get these visions. Sometimes you're just running in the park and you're just seeing things which you can't explain. Uh, and like people say in Christianity, also people say about the throne of God and His courtroom and things like that. But it's nothing that what our mind can visualize. It's like the visions that you get are so astounding. So there is great depth in following the words of these sages. And what I do is I don't feel like I'm really reading if I've not got myself to the beginner mode. So every time I read a holy book like this, then I feel like I have to empty myself of the things I know. Because if I read it with with a particular construct already, then I will not listen. Like I will just try to put it into my existing framework, and that has stopped my growth so many times in the past. So I don't want to do it again. So when I pick up a holy book which is apparently holy, like apparently in the sense clearly holy, that it just pulls your heart. So if I approach it with a sense of, oh, but I am somebody who shares satsang and has so many children and they listen to me and have had insights and things like that, then I'm not going to get anywhere with it. I have to open it. I have to read it fully empty. Like I'm just the first day of my spiritual search, and I'm reading it like that. Because what a gift it is to read from a sage who lived in the 1500s and lived in a society where if she openly made those claims that I, being a woman, have gone through, I've had darshan in this way and visions in this way, I can be hung or burnt on a stake. So then her guru, a spiritual director, commanded her to write it in a way that I once knew this one you see, who had these experiences, and she told me it's like that. You see, so she is her. So because her early autobiography was banned in Spain by the Inquisition, because and they sort of gave her a warning that after this, if you make any claims like that, you're a woman, know your place. Like this. So that's why in the middle you'll see something that the men can understand these things better, and what do we women know, and this kind of stuff as well. Because in those days, 1563 is already what, like 90 is for us. If you get to 63, you've got to a very old age. So, like the health of the bodies, medical services available, all that was terrible. So, so at that very old age for those times, she included all that. But she's also given like clues saying that a lot of those things I'm saying in this book may seem like, so she's, if you're reading very carefully, you notice where, if you put it in the right context, you see where she's coming from, and she's trying to be so helpful. You see, in spite of all this danger to her life at such an old age, she could be in prison, where she could be burnt. And these are literal fears. Because living in today's modern world, you may sit here and say, yeah, I'm okay, I love God so much, I can be burnt on a stake. You see, I'm okay, I'll be fine, I can be crucified on a cross. You see, and I'll bear the cross and things like that. But do we really know? Like, have we encountered a world, like, I don't know how old you were when your country went through a war and things like that. But have we, like, I've never encountered a world where I could be burnt on a stake. I may be jailed for something, those things may happen. It's out of the ordinary to imagine those things. So we can't really put ourselves and say, okay, why did she bow down to, why did she this thing? I'm imagining myself as a 63-year-old woman who's already lived more than is usual in those times. And I have a threat of the Spanish Inquisition, which is supposed to be the most scary people who ever lived, and maybe after Genghis Khan. But but putting yourself in that kind of context, the kind of service she's done with a book like that, it's tremendous. So we must never get into any pride about saying, but why did she write like that? If you understand the life of a sage, you will see that such beauty unfolds given the given context. So stunning. And that's the beauty of encountering a sage, that you can't even think about yourself. You see? You meet the life of a sage like Gyandev, Tukaram, Namdev, Kabir, Mira, any sage from the West, East, anywhere. Their love for God is so astounding. You look at your life and you say, what is so special about you? Can't even, you don't even feel like contemplating this question. It's like such a waste to think about me, in the light of the possibility of loving God so deeply. What are we even? Like I see no, to have such beautiful inspirations available to us, and then to have like children sitting around this one. It's just so absurd to me. It's just like, so all I can do is at best is to say, yes, he is here, and all the love and all the reverences, just as an instrument being passed back to the truly deserving one who is here. It was to see the humility of even Teresa. It's astounding. She says that I'm just writing things which I don't know anything about. So stunningly good. And if you read like any of them, it's like you read Kabir and he lived the life of a simple weaver, you know, in poverty. I'm sure if he wanted, he could become very rich. But and he's just, if you read his works, he's just like sitting on the street side, like on the footpath of today's world, and saying, "Brother, listen, listen. You're going your way, but have you ever looked into your heart?" So he's really calling out to people, and people are just going on their way. Sometimes you see like in YouTube, you see some evangelists, who are trying to talk to people on the streets, and they say, "Have you handed yourself over to Jesus Christ?" And most people are like, "No, no," and just walk past like that because they don't want their day to get interrupted. They have a plan, they have meetings. And I'm not also saying that everyone who stops you in this way is genuine or really wants to lead you to God. I'm not saying any of that. But for a true sage to sit on the road and say, "Oh bhai, hey bhai," it's like saying, "Oh brother, hey brother, listen." Like everything he said starts like that. So you can tell that it was not necessary that there were like so many people coming to meet him and he had a big satsang hall or something like that. He's just struggling to get the point across to a few who were open to listen. And the strongness of his language, the bluntness of his language was to, because probably he felt like I have one opportunity to talk to this one. What can I say that will shake them out of their worldly ways? Stunning, and all these sages of Maharashtra, they just went from place to place with the instrument in their hand, Ek Tara it's called, with the one wire instrument, singing the praises of God just tirelessly, and so stunningly beautiful their lives were. That's the beauty of this, that with books, with these kind of remnants of those times, you get a window of into lives of such beauty, and it leaves no time to think about me, no time to really. Look at the Sikh gurus, so many of them were just killed by the Mughals. in the wars with the invaders. They never let go of God. Even for like Kabir, it's been so dangerous because he's beating down everybody. He's saying, "You Pandit, you don't know what you're talking about. You're just reading words. You mullahs of the mosques, you are just saying the prayer. You have no idea of God." Attacking everyone on all sides, where they see corruption and egotism. And Bulle Shah said, "You may bathe in the Ganges, but you will not find God. You may visit all the mosques and uh, you know temples, but you will not find God. Till you look inside your heart, you will not find Him. But have you looked? Imagine living in those times. It could just be picked up and your head could be cut off in one instant. And having the courage of God's power in your heart to save us. You don't even want to ruffle feathers of like people we meet in the park. That's not that way.
So like even Mahatma Gandhi must have got courage from God. Nobody can do
The
that.
Ram Chand, he
Standing in
says,
front of all
if you read his book, he says the Ram Chand really gave him that spiritual grounding, the power. It's very easy to sit here after 70 something years of independence. You must not put down those where we've not lived in their shoes for a day also. Look at the glory of God where He provides all this for those who truly turn to Him and are willing to die for Him. He provides that strength from inside. Something Teresa said would really hit me. She said, "We must look at the humility of God Himself." And I never looked at it like that. Like, I felt like He must be humble if He is the great one. I was just like, in what way can we say God is humble? In what way can we look at the humility of God? And I see that it's so obvious that, so if I had created this universe, you know, if I was literally like God, if this Ananta, this ego had created this universe, I would want my photo, my thing everywhere, and yeah, anytime somebody doesn't remember me, I'm like attack. It's just like, but he makes himself so humble and so like, turn to me when you want. You see, I'm always loving you. My love is always here. I don't feel like any of us would have been that way if we had created this computer game. You know, we'd want like so much respect and reverence and all of that. And for us, it's if we take one moment and turn towards Him, we feel like we're doing such a big thing. The humility of the Creator is astounding. And we have so much pride. Like, how can He punish us if He's so humble? And what is the notion of hell and all of these things? Can we really understand? Like, can a child understand when that they're being dragged away from a football shop or a cricket shop, and the parent is refusing to get the cricket bat and everything, and the child is believing that I am the worst father in the world. Can the child at that point really understand the way of the parent? They can't understand. So we are much, like compared to God, we're not even like that child. And our pride makes us feel that we can understand His way. I feel like to be an ant or something is better. Because if you looked at ants, if you if you become cut into two, you see, one part will still go along its way. It doesn't wait one moment to lament the fact that this God did this to them.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure it experienced a lot of pain, it experienced a lot of this
When I
thing.
asked you about that same thing, it really wasn't to
No, I know,
berate
I'm just
her,
saying, but it's very
but
natural.
somewhere in my heart there's fear of punishment. In that sense, for me, God is so unconditional love. But
even that can become a box.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, that we try to make any framing, and it's a beautiful framing to say unconditional love. But we can't restrict God to anything because we don't know.
No, like you just said, how do I know it was not out of love that He made?
Yeah, like how do we know that unconditional love is the highest thing? Maybe in God, in this kindergarten of a world, He just exposes to level one. Maybe there are things which we can't even fathom, which are greater than even unconditional love. So at best we can say in our human understanding and human life and experience, we can tell that unconditional love is the deepest, which carries the perfume of God and can lead you to Him. But can we really say that He has to be like that? Maybe there are things which are like a million times more deeper than unconditional love. We don't know. But all of us have to encounter these things, and then when there is like a dichotomy, right? You can sense like when there is a tension in your system. It is usually because of there are colliding constructs in your head. So you can pull them into your heart and contemplate them. So and I can't judge any of this stuff because I have asked these questions. I have said, how can God be like this? How can they be suffering in the world? How can but somewhere by God's grace, I learned that by just keeping it over there, it is not going to help. So we must use all of this to bring it into our heart, and He will give us the answer. You see, He does explain everything if we just open. That's why the book of Job is so beautiful, because it's inexplicable what happened to him. A holy, devout man, all his children are killed, all his wealth is taken away, all of that has happened to him. And he has his moments of anger, tantrum, then he has his moments of returning to faith, and he goes through that whole human thing. And then in the end, God just tells him that you don't know what all is at play here. You can't really understand. And that's where true faith comes in. But we must take all of this and just bring it to our heart and wait for Him to provide the answer. Because my wish for all of you at every point of time is for you to deepen in your heart, to deepen in His love. Because I see that in this world, there is no other solution. There is no other solution than God. Nothing. And we could have had whatever spiritual experiences, we could be as nice, as good, as whatever. If we don't live in His life, it's not living at all. It's very important for me to see these interactions also, to hear all of you also, because Otherwise, I just feel like everyone is doing so well, always living in God's light, and there's no trouble fighting shit. And sometimes it happens like that. I've been in sanghas where in front of the guru you have to just present yourself. So, yeah, like that. And you just you don't give them a sense of like at the art of living there are millions of people, and when I was there were thousands of people at least. So when you get the chance to be with your guru, you can't tell them no, this is happening, and what about this, and what about that. You can't really discuss those things with them because you're getting a moment of darshan, so you're just trying to fully imbibe it, and somewhere you're trying to impress the guru with how happy you are and how So because you're in that mode, right? You're in that childish naivety that you haven't really understood what the project is. So So this is so much better because you kids can share with me. You can tell me openly, like, what about this, and why did you say like that, and I didn't like this, or
So
why
many
this.
times I know just if we're going, if then the other thing is we take it for granted.
Yeah,
And may
that
that
thing
not
they can
happen.
happen, but yeah, but
If you
somewhere I
smack us,
notice the chopping also comes when it becomes. So the heart takes care of it.